Hello everybody, this is Heflamoke here and it's been a chaotic day. I'm really sorry for the delay. First of all, we had one player missing. Second of all, we have made changes to format overlays and whatnot. Everything that belongs to a tournament, obviously, till the very last minute. But nevertheless, we are here and everything's fine. With me today is Mr. Mikelorus, and you're of course listening and watching, hopefully, the Hitbox Challenger by Razer here, also on the Razer channel. The whole thing is of course also available in Russian as well as Chinese, and I think also we have a Spanish caster joining us later this week. The whole thing goes 7 days. We have 8 teams. It's a new format. It's not boring. It's actually quite exciting. We pick 2 teams. They start on 2 time slots. They can challenge whoever they want. Of course, with some restriction, you cannot pick them twice. You cannot pick the team with the highest games played, so you always have to get a new opponent. But instead of handing out $5,000 for the winner at the end of this week, we hand out $300 for each and every win, which means every team and every game, everything counts. You want to win, you want to go home with $300 right there, and that's pretty much it. That was the summit and hopefully a good intro. Mike, let's hop into this.
I think the easiest way to understand it is just it's kind of king of 2 hills. There's 2 hills and there's going to be kings of those hills, and you get money for being the king, because that's how everything works in real life, I'm pretty sure. But we're going to have our first match for Anchors and Sea Captain versus Alternate Attacks for ASC. Perhaps one of the stronger teams that has accepted the invite to this tournament, so they have the chance of winning more dough, which is always really sweet. But it's also, this tournament, pretty refreshing for me, simply because over the past couple days, I've been seeing a hell of a lot of Chinese Dota, and it's a really nice change of pace to have something not Chinese to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been so spoiled by the Chinese tier 2 scene, from ESCC into G League into the Dojo Cup here. I mean, it's very nice that of course the Chinese, independent from the Western scene, provide us with some content, but of course we haven't seen anything around the NA scene except for Beyond the Summit has one event there. We haven't seen anything around Southeast Asia and Europe and CIS even quite. So yeah, I'm happy we finally got something, even though it was so super short notice and everything, but I hope the people enjoy it. Let's see how the meta between all this actually is different. We have Undying banned out, as well as Lashrock and Queen of Pain. That goes along with what we see in other scenes, but now Shadow Fiend and Io. Okay, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, already I'm gonna be like, I know that I won't be able to not make comparisons between these 2 scenes, but Beastmaster, Winter Wyvern, and Io are pretty much never seen, or very rarely seen, in the Chinese scene that we've been kind of participating in. So that's a really nice change of pace. But of course, these are old standbys. The Io, of course, is going to force Alternate Attacks to go for some of these IO partner bans, as they actually, Alternate Attacks, have grabbed 2 of their support heroes right off the bat. I generally don't think this is the best way to open up with a draft, but when your 2 supports are 2 premium supports like Shaker and Winter Wyvern, you could do a lot worse.
Absolutely. So Earthshaker and Winter Wyvern, which means we have ATN at the moment. By the way, an upcoming Polish team. So far, they only have played in smaller tournaments like, I don't know, Gigabyte Challenges, ISO Cups, and of course joined Dota League and stuff like that. But there they have been doing quite well, so there is potential. And that's why I want to see how they go against 4 Anchors. Right now they just focus on more their little playmakers around the support roles, which I can totally understand. Earthshaker with the Axstorm, as well as Winter Wyvern with the Winter's Curse, is someone who can really just ruin your day pretty much in all the big fights, while 4 Anchors, like, what do you think is that IO4? Is that really like a dual lane mid, as we see it even in the Chinese scene sometimes, just supporting the mid, making sure it's going through, or is there something else coming for that IO?
I think the real beauty of this IO is that you can do anything really with it, as opposed to like, some other support where it's usually just going to be, oh, they're just going to be supporting the safe lane. IO can go mid and stick in the mid lane, and with an IO Shadow Fiend, that's kind of an unnecessary amount of commitment to that mid lane, since Shadow Fiend usually is going to be just fine, especially with Leshrac and Shaker, or with Leshrac rather, already being banned out. Shadow Fiend doesn't have any real terrible matchups there, but having a hero that can both stack the jungle for Shadow Fiend is relevant, and also, stack the jungle for a Bristleback or a Sven or whoever else they want to partner up with this hero. Alternate Attacks, though, they're not going to bite. We do have the Tusk banned out. Rather odd to see him being banned out so late, but they're not really scared of this IO pick, it seems.
Yep, and Kling's coming out. Okay, Team Alternate. I don't know, like in the Chinese tournaments, did we even have a single Klings? I don't think so.
Yeah, I had them. I had all of them.
Okay, you had all of them, like one or two maximum in about 100 games or so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So
But
now
hey,
here,
it's more than zero.
back to Europe, and the fancy drafts are coming out. ATN. I mean, they don't have to hide strategies, for TI or anything like that. There's no big tournament except for like some qualifiers here and there within the next days before TI. So you don't have to hide anything. You can come up with everything fancy you were actually practicing. The Klinks is coming out. I'm curious what lane we're gonna see him here in the European scene, and well. It's gonna be, of course, a bad time for 4AC when it comes to tier 1 towers. That's something that Klinks on a decent level snacks away easily, as well as a lot of split push potential. The good thing is, of course, the Klinks always has a low HP pool, which means you can actually go for him relatively easily, bring him down. But there's one thing which is so scary at the moment with the Klinks. It's the fast Desolator. Like Searing Arrows and Desolator, it's just insane what kind of damage is coming out from the Klinks.
Spirit Breaker is one of the tankier heroes in the game, yet even he really can't comfortably stand up to that much damage. Someone has to get on top of this Klinks, and in that regard, Spirit Breaker is a good pick for 4 anchors. Just see him, charge him, dust him, kill him. But when you're running with a hero like Io, when you're running a hero like Shadow Fiend, the massive physical damage of Klinks is, versus Io, especially like coming into 2-3 shot territory. If Klink gets a little bit ahead, he could just constantly snipe out that Io, even if your Io may be sitting with his partner the entire time. So this Klinks is definitely potentially going to be a menace, as alternate attacks grab the Disruptor, so most likely going to see a Shaker shifted over to one of those side lane positions. I like this response from 4 anchors, though. They grab the Dazzle, and at the very least, man, try to save your allies from the Klink's assassination, which is nice. But also, if you do successfully weave up your team, Klink's becomes a lot less effective, since he is 100% in the physical department.
Absolutely, and I mean, 4AC is going for the defensive route with like 2 heroes that have amazing healing potential. We have minus armor as well as plus armor coming out as well, which we only have so far by Team ATN if the Klinks goes for the Desolator. We have 1 roamer, which I don't know, might be also of course something sooner or later for the Klinks, depending what position he plays in. But Earthshaker, Winter Wyvern, and Disruptor, that means we have 3 heroes that are very, very crucial for team fights, especially the execution and in what order you do it, if you chain it properly or if you just clutch it in. So that's very crucial for ATN to properly get this through. But usually we don't see that much utility in the team fights. Like I kind of miss the brute force, because if that Klinks is going down fast, then I have the feeling that Team Alternate, they lose their entire fight right there, which means they have to pick something more solid, decent HP pool, a strength care possibly, or something that will be not so greedy as this one is already.
Yeah, it is kind of risky. They have a hero that they really need to protect, but it's a hero that is, first of all, very difficult to protect inherently, and is not really with the best heroes to protect him. Winter Wyvern's Embrace is fine and everything, but still the Shadow Fiend can burst Klinks down, just because Raze versus Klinks, usually you would give it to the Razes until a little bit later into the game. Templar Assassin is another kind of similar hero along those lines. Like, she won't need as much protection as a Klinks, since she does have the Refraction, she does have the Meld, she has ways of keeping herself safe, but this is a vast majority of the damage from alternate attacks coming out of just 2 heroes. And I guess you kind of have a similar problem on 4 Anchors side, but Dazzle and Io, there are a lot more well-equipped to actually protect heroes that need protecting, such as the Shadow Fiend, such as the Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, but with the TA, it's I totally feel fine about it. I mean, remember like at the games we casted in the last some weeks, and it was always that the TA was sometimes drafted into, I don't know, like in rosters where you thought like, wow, okay, there's this hero and this heroes, and reflection charges, they won't last even for a second. Here, right now, I feel quite comfy around the refraction. Like, there's not much that can really remove it within like a split second, so therefore I kind of feel fine. But of course, there's the big fat Swen now, and I think this is most likely then the partner for the IO, and that's very, very interesting the way they do this here right now.
Yep.
So yeah, let's go into it.
All right, well, it is going to be game 1, guys, and everyone's going to be loading out. I want to talk about that bench a little bit more, but first let's introduce, I guess, who's going to be playing what. On the alternate side, Sasu is going to be playing the Shaker. Boots first, off lane. Nisha is going to be on the Winter Wyvern. We got Mnik on the Templar Assassin, Premium Hero on the Klinks, and Elisa on the Disruptor. It is also worth noting that we are currently not on a ticket, so the names may be a little bit off.
Well, I hope we still get it together. I had pretty much no preparation time as I was still fixing production, new PC, new everything overlay, so I have to just go.
I told them to get their official nicknames up, but you can
Yeah,
only do so
no.
much.
If they don't choose to, we just call them by their funny names. It's all for the funsies. Anyway, this is a tournament to have fun before the TI starts, and it gets really serious because there's a lot of money on the line here. It's $300 per win, thanks to Hitbox and Raisin Corporation here, of course. So, the other side, Masturbaman, aka Matumbaman. On this one, we have Nemphy, that's the original name, on the Shadow Fiend, Boogie, and Valix, the two supports, two healing support here in the background on Io and Dazzle, and of course, Zone on the Spirit Breaker.
I think that's Trixie, but I'm not sure. I looked at his Steam thing and everything, couldn't tell, but probably.
Well,
I don't know.
who knows? Who knows? At the moment, we're just going forward for 50-50 bounty rune split. There's no argument whatsoever. Thanks to that bounty rune, of course, the IO is gonna get the bottle right away as the game begins. So it's already there with the courier, and for now, I think he's gonna stay around the mid with the Shadow Fiend just to give him a slightly, edge over the Templar Assassin, just to establish a good lane, and then he will probably just join the Sven sooner or later.
It's going to help out a little bit, perhaps, since the Winter Wyvern is also sticking around this mid lane. Really, what you want to do as Wyvern right now is just use Arctic Burn once, hit as many heroes as you can, as many times as you can. Usually it's like 2 or 3 hits on the enemy core, but in this time, the damage is going to be split by Boogie and Nemphy, and they have the bottle, so that single use of the burn doesn't actually do that much, and the cooldown is so long for a basic skill. So yeah, the Winter Ribbon, though he may want to do something here, can't really do that much, as long as the IO does stick around. But really, what else is he going to do? Down towards the bottom lane, the Spirit Breaker is having a terrible time. Even if it was just versus Clink solo, then the Spirit Breaker would be losing this lane. But adding the threat of Glimpse eventually to that lane, this is a bad lane for a Spirit Breaker to be in.
Absolutely, and well, he has to at least get close somehow to grab some experience, like the level 2, so you get your charge as well as the, well, 71% bash. That's at least like the minimum he needs to be successful in roaming, especially if the TA might be caught out in a position that is not very optimal. But at this point, the Disruptor is doing absolutely work on him. He's not getting close at all. And of course, you have the Winter Wyvern now back from the mid into that line and just making sure there is a pull. And it seems like they go for a double pull, which means even less experience right now for that Spirit Breaker.
Well, similarly on the top lane, the Shaker's not having a great time either. Offlane Shakers typically run into this problem simply because Shaker doesn't hold down a lane very well. The dual lane of Dazzle Sven is not really something to be too scared about, but Shaker is so weak in lane that he has to be scared of pretty much any sort of lane combo. So the mirrored situations for the cows. Poor cows never seem to catch a break, but we do have maybe a fight for the 2-minute bottom rune. Someone's gonna grab it now. Well, they see Elisa right now, but looks like it'll just be a couple of hits being traded back and forth. Sasu, he has a haste rune. He's patrolling in the mid lane, but we have a couple heroes going pretty deep for not that much end result. But it is Majuma Man up towards top to get a lot of free farm, as is Supreme Hero on the Clink. So as far as that is concerned, it's pretty even across the board.
Absolutely. The Earthshaker with a haste rune, well, he's all there and fancy trying to grab some experience, but even he's not even level 2 yet, which the Spirit Breaker pretty much suffering from the same fate. So these offlaners, almost 3 minutes into this game, they're not gonna be happy in this series, that's for sure. They just not getting anything. The Earthshaker is even trying to get the creeps, trying to lure them into power, but the Dazzle's making sure that those big creeps, they will definitely just take them out here. Hellburst Smasher refusing to give any experience to the Earthshaker, but, well, he's on the low ground, so he might as well just get level 2 now.
And also, fortunately for these two heroes, even though they aren't really getting that much, Shaker always played in a support role, Spirit Breaker occasionally played in the support role, they could function without getting a ton of gold. Obviously, more gold, more experience is a better time, but still if they get shut down, they will be able to recover if need be, just by throwing a fissure over towards the mid lane. If you wall off a Shadow Fiend, if you let the Templar Assassin get close, Nemphy, though he is doing very well in lane right now, pretty even with the TA, but he will just straight up die if you actually wall him off with the Templar Assassin there with a refraction just wailing on him. So there is a lot of potential upside for Sasu, here for Son, but they just have to wait to a certain point where they are comfortable enough to leave the lane, and that's probably going to happen off of a lucky rune. And if Sasu, for right now, for instance, grabs an Invis rune, then 4SC have to be very, very careful.
Yeah, when it comes to bottles, we have so far, how many bottles do we have in this game? It's really just a TA and the Wisp pretty much, that's all about it. So TA is already like rotating with that bottle growing, but when it comes to the IO, well, first of all, he still has all the charges, and he's also interested in runes, of course. This rune went to the Disruptor, the Invisibility, which might actually be interesting, even though this is just a level 1 glimpse. It's not the best,
Oh,
obviously.
Courier, where are you going, dude? That's not where you're supposed to be. Yeah, level 2 Disruptor is not really the most scary hero in the game, but again, if they're up against someone like soft like a Shadow Fiend, if Boogie's not there in time with the bottle, then that could very easily be a kill. They are already clearing out stacks. They clear out a triple in their own jungle. Kind of weird to see considering they still have a free lane, but Balex up towards top is in a little bit of trouble actually. Fissure walled off, and he is going to get glimpsed if he even slips away a little bit. Arctic Burn slows there, he grabs himself, 2-man getting there with a 2-man stun, glimpses there onto Balex, in a lot of trouble, and Boogie doesn't tether to him, but they do get the kill on the Disruptor first, before they lose the Dazzle, and 2-man still on the hunt. So with the charge coming in, Sasu looks to be dead here as well. In a 2-for-1, 3-for-1, and Shadow Fiend also picks up the Winter Wyvern in the meantime. 4 ASC collect huge.
Yep, like the Shadow Fiend, like I couldn't even show it because they were about to die pretty much at the same time, but a 1-for-3 trade here, ATN first it looked good, but well, then the nice rotations, the Spirit Breaker obviously joining really fast the fight set, but also Nemphy moving, and 4 AC just getting full score on that fight, definitely claiming the upper hand here.
And the fact that Shadow Fiend arrived to that fight is something that Alternate would not really have expected. Again, I was just saying that it's really weird that Shadow Fiend is actually clearing out his jungle when you could do that later. You have a free lane to farm. If he was not in his jungle clearing out those creeps, there's no way he would be able to intercept that Winter Wyvern and actually get that kill. So things kind of working out for Nemphy in the end, having 1 kill to his name, still farming up quite quickly. Yeah, the Templar Assassin gets a little bit of free space in lane, but it's certainly worth getting a kill on your Shadow Fiend to trade that away for a little bit of TA farm.
What do you think we're gonna see anyway on the TA as well as the Clings? Do we see both on a Desolator Rush and then trying to snowball off that? Because I would be a bit too greedy to push that on 2 heroes. Then again, I guess why not?
I feel like the Clinks probably is a lot more likely to go for Desolator, and TA, if she does go for it, it's going to be not until much later. The Templar Assassin already has a lot of inherent burst, and her objective is going to be slay the IO, try to stay alive afterwards. And the Clinks, yeah, he has kind of the same objective, get to the softer heroes, kill them off, but he will struggle a little bit more since his burst simply isn't that high, so he needs the Desolator a lot more than TA. So I would expect a blink or mobility build from Templar Assassin, and then straight damage from the Clinks.
Yeah. By the way, just a little organizational thing, guys. If there's anything wrong on the stream, as in sound or anything, as I said, it was a completely new setup on super short notice, like 5 minutes before the stream went live. So if there's anything wrong with the sound level, then just tell me. But I think it's like 90% saying it's fine, and there's just some random people saying it's not. So either way, just let me know in chat, obviously.
Yeah, because chat is always correct. Glimpse back on his own right now. He does have a charge right now, but he's not using it. Well, he's just dead now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was actually quite interesting because what actually could have interrupted him right there? Like, I thought trying to charge away might have been an easy solution, but, well, he didn't go for it.
I mean, you use the charge and you die anyway, or you just die anyway. Seems like you use the charge to try to get away, but we do have a charge going towards mid right now, where the Templar Assassin is feeling pretty good right now. She has the Winter Wyvern right next to her, but there are a ton of heroes here for 4 ASC.
Charge.
And these are heroes that are ready to dive a tower if need be. Unfortunately, though, it's not going to happen just yet, so everyone will back off.
Yep, and it's also like that point where the Spirit Breaker is ready to actually make the Clinks pay for that horrible offlane. He got now Dust with him, which means the next time he sees the Clinks and there is a gank somehow possible, then I definitely think they're gonna go for it. Because at this point, you can still get the Clinks properly, especially if you get him without the Death Pact. I mean, right now with Death Pact he's on 1.2k, still, yeah. Just get him without, and he should be easy kill. You pretty much just need the raises of the Shadow Fiend, for example.
Unfortunately for 4ASC is that if they don't have Nemphy there as the Shadow Fiend, then Spirit Breaker is not going to get any help. Like Dazzle and Io, their offensive capabilities are pretty much zilch, so the Spirit Breaker is going to need a lot of help if he's going to be getting those kills. Solo killing in this game, especially off of such a tough lane, is really not possible. Like, even against these supports, like if you try to dive into a disruptor, you hit him with the charge, maybe you get a lucky bash, but then you get glimpse back, gets walked through a kinetic field. There's just not enough damage from the Spirit Breaker to get any solo kills in this game, I don't think.
Yep, absolutely. And how's my Tumba man doing? I mean, he's going for trumps, finished them pretty much, another 450 on his bank account pretty much. I mean, I like what of course Sasu is doing. He got his soul ring, so he's trying the best to like sneak here and there some efficiency is, but that's pretty much it. But what is the Swen going for? I mean, stats are there, alright, even strength PTs. What is the next thing to go for? With all this utility, well, the BKB is pretty much very close to a decision. The only thing that can really stop you with the BKB on is the Winter's Curse.
BKB is always going to be good on the Sven. In this game, it's not really an exception. This game, however, with the allies that he has, the super defensive heroes and the Dazzle and the Io, maybe he's going to decide to cut some corners and say, okay, I could just go full offensive and then rely on the defensive powers of my supports to keep me alive. And that is just a matter of how greedy as Matuma Man do you want to be. I think you probably get away with it, but again, that just might not be his thing necessarily. So he is going to be getting a lot of gold, though, and that's the bottom line. Second on the net worth chart, just behind his Shadow Fiend, who's almost going to complete up a mech. So if you get mech on the Shadow Fiend, if Sven grabs like a Mask of Madness right now, then 4ASC can play super aggressively.
Yep, and I was just about to say that, like, just check. Oh, never mind that. Checking about the readiness of a fight. I know the Winter Wyvern is ready. He is on the high ground and seems to be safe, at least for the next some seconds. But oh, Echo Slam here on the Shadow Fiend going in. He's still somehow alive. The Wisp doing work. Now there's the Shallow Crave making sure they are not going to die. The charge, not even central on him, just passing by, drive-by shooting. 3 of them are going down, and that Wisp just did work. The real work.
That is perfectly exemplifying what I was just talking about. You could afford to, you know, get away with some maybe greedy items. Not necessarily on what Shadow Fiend did, but he's super soft right now, and he was surviving. Over towards mid, they're going to get the charge onto Elisan. He's very dead. That's a dead disruptor. Here comes Nisha, Splinter Blast. I don't think they care about that. They're actually going to turn things around. There's another strike, enemy location. God's Giant popped, and Nisha's in a lot of trouble. It's just Boogie to arrive. Nisha's right now is immune to physical right now. His hero does arrive as well. Fissure onto 2. Sasu going to walk right in, but he does not have Zekka Slam. Stun onto Sasu. Not going to save the Spirit Breaker. Not going to save Boogie either. No, he is going to jump out with the 2 men in tow. And Supreme Hero gets 1 kill. Really sweet for the Clinks there. They keep the Winter Wyvern alive. A little bit too aggressive there for 4ASC, perhaps.
Yep, that was again perfect timing by the Wisp. First, he does that like monumental healing on the Shadow Fiend. And by the way, this was the Shadow Fiend without the mech. Like right now, after this fight, obviously the mech is flying out. So we have a 1k HP pool Shadow Fiend right there with a mech. So there's armor, there's studs. And on top of that, of course, we have the Wisp healing. We saw it once in action. And that not being enough, he also just saved the life of the Swen. So everything is pretty much secured. Farm secured for Matumba Man. And this whole thing translates for him into 1.5k, which could be, yes, again, there's my thought, directly into a BKB.
Did you actually get it? No, you didn't get it yet. So BKB, Mask of Madness, Armlet. So many people hate on Armlet on Sven. I still like it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just outdated on my Sven builds, perhaps. We do have, he said, the mech on the Shadow Fiend. He's going to go for a BKB. This Shadow Fiend is going to be kind of like a bait hero. Like, most of the time, if you're alternate, you're like, oh, Shadow Fiend, let's just go kill the Shadow Fiend, but it's not an easy kill in this game. He's sitting at, what, like 1200 HP with Strength Treads, with an additional mech heal on top of that, possibly even doubled up by the IO.
Yeah, a good one, actually. It's on the Clinks. I already said it. They have the dust if they want to, but I think this is a bit too far, so yes, the Space Cow is deciding that it's a bit too hairy in the dairy, and that's why he's not going for it. By the way, the Shadow Fiend, I think this is going to be some SMY plus Scotty build, simply because he doesn't need a BKB if you really got the heal of the Dazzle as well as the IO. They really run this like pillar of the community Shadow Fiend, just standing there and just bashing everyone.
Seems like that has worked so far. We do have another charge on the way. Son this time is going to cancel it. Tower taking a little bit of heat over in mid, but for ASC, definitely with enough power to contest this right now, if they really wanted to. They do know that Mnik does have his Blink Dagger, so that's something for IO and Dazzle to keep in mind. Everyone else doesn't really care about that too much, but you know, while Alternate are putting a whole bunch of heroes in the mid lane, trying to slowly push that while staying safe, they lose a bottom tier 1, and with IO packing that relocate, they could keep going for SC. They never have to stop until Alternate actually leave the mid lane.
Yeah, and the Clinks, I think there we have our Desolator on the way. I mean, it's 2.8k. At the moment, he is actually violating the work of 4AAC. There were some stacks which he took now, pretty much, so that's the nice sneaky part about the Clinks. And maybe he even gets something done on the tier 1 tower top. But at the moment, well, there's the Weave coming out. Obviously, a lot of armor on that Shadow Fiend. I mean, just look at it, how much that actually is. And yes, they're gonna go for the tier 1 tower. I don't think they can actually stop this.
Oh, Oh, especially if there's a fight happening. Charge into Mnik right now. He's going to jump into the high ground zone. Oh, no, that's not where you want to be. He gets vision for the Nether Strike. You got to cast it just to get the hell out of there so you can contribute something to this fight. Gets mech'd up. Requiem is being charged. No, Nemphy will reconsider. They're going to jump up for Mnik. Mutube has a Blink Dagger as well. They get right on top of the Templar Assassin. No bashing, but there's more than enough damage, especially with that heal bomb. The alternate, no Clinks in the area, just scattering even after getting kind of a free pick-off opportunity with the Spirit Breaker completely stuck.
Yeah, I mean, the Clinks is split pushing at the same time. He's working on a tier 1 tower there, but the problem is it's all for the price of already damage on a tier 2 tower. And oh, there's a nice Fisher blocking him on the right side. There's a nice Echo Slam. The Wisp at the moment still surviving and still healing up that Swan as well as giving mana. He is TPing out. There is no interrupt or anything disrupted anyway. Cooldown. But man, like the previous fight, like that bar, like just stopping the charge in the middle of the trees, and ATM was like, oh look, there's a free space cow, let's have some steak. But the problem is it was more or less just debate, and another strike brought him back on the high ground, and then the TA was really caught out in position with no help of the team whatsoever. So yeah, another kill of course by 4RC, and a lot of tower damage as well, as now pretty much all the towers snacked except for the top line. That's completely, yeah, untouched.
Alternate are still conceding quite a bit of map presence right now. 4ASC with the Spirit Breaker and having an IO ready with Relocate, when he does have Relocate of course, is going to mean that every single tower that drops from Alternate is going to hurt that much more. And, you know, taking a lot of tier 2 damage in the mid lane, it's going to mean that next time 4SC can walk right in, grab that one, and then open up the map even further. For right now though, they're going to smoke, was right under a Radiant Observer Ward, so this should not catch anyone, unless Templar Assassin is feeling super greedy and decides to farm up Ancients. Looks like it's still not going to be punished. So yeah, they all just dissolve away. But while that was happening, while the Clinks were split pushing, he did grab up that Desolator, and now he is on the hunt. I don't know if he can actually find anyone here though.
Well, top they were looking for it. There is an IO in the background, just making sure they are ready for a fight. TA, by the way, still not done with those Ancients, but now I think they just blinked it and scouted out. They have the Temple Ward up, at least I call it Temple Ward, right there it is, it's absolutely fresh. They see what's going on, they see the Temple Assassin, and as I'm saying this, the Clinks actually gets the kill in the backlines, but they're gonna find here the Temple Assassin. Now it's all about getting rid of those perfection charges. They are through, and with the next stun, the two supports are also ending up being stunned, and well, there's a nice ultimate, nice kinetic field holding back just for a tiny bit. There is the Clinks trying to join this fight, but oh, do they have vision? Yes, of course.
They don't. Nempy. Oh. How baller are you? Oh. Yeah, the vision, both of those true sight sources, the sentries and the dust were on the Dazzle and Io. And again, that's what the Clinks is supposed to do, right? Get to the back line, slay those softer support heroes, and hope that the rest of the team can hold down the fort. This time didn't really work out the way he wanted to. Yeah, he slayed the supports, but he, well, didn't have much in the way of support there. And oh, he's gonna find another one, perhaps Valix. Just having a casual walk in the park, suddenly two-shot.
Two-shot? Jesus Christ, that damage for Clinks. I mean, he killed, like, in a too fast to cast fashion already that Dazzle once. So that was quite interesting. And about vision, I think they need to get some vision on more heroes. The Space Cow was out of dust. We had the Wisp dying, and either he used it or it was not in range, or I have no idea. Maybe he just died before he could use it, and that's why they couldn't get the Clinks kill. That would have been a very nice kill, because that Clinks is now doing quite some work. He's only 1.3k. Okay, actually he is about 2.1k behind the Shadow Fiend, but he's catching up, he's doing fine, and maybe he's the one who will create some space for the Templar Assassin. I mean, he went Blink Dagger first. That's nice for the fights, nice for initiations, but of course for sustain, for stats and everything, as well as for damage, it's not really the right thing to do at all. There's the charge.
Yeah. Get the Embrace on himself, block a lot of damage. Here comes the Relocate. They see Hero, but he once again two shots to Dazzle, cursing to Boogie, and Nemphy might kill off his buddy. Not going to do it, actually, as Boogie now stuck in the Static Storm. Probably will go down regardless, but Matuman can't get in there. Nemphy trying to arrive, but it's way too late. They have to back out of here. Sasu, though, going to blink ahead of Matuman, block him off with the Fissure. Has Echo Slam, doesn't really need it, just because Clinks is firing and he's hitting hard. It's a triple kill for Hero, and they also see Nemphy. Meld hit, gonna do a little bit of damage, but Boogie's still here with a pretty full bottle. Requiem around the corner, gonna do a lot of damage to Mnik. Now puts up the refraction, however, and now just man fighting a Supreme Hero, finds Boogie in the back lines. 1, 2, 3, with a Fissure. That's gonna kill off the Io and Nemphy. He survives because he took no focus. 4SC just get picked apart. The more scattered these fights are, the better Clinks gets, and that fight was as scattered as can be.
Jesus Christ, this damage. And do they do the real thing? Just go for Roshan right away. They have a good fight, but man, Mr. Earthshaker, the other cow here on the pitch, is just dragging some creeps and actually providing now the vision that 4AC does not have in that region, because they only have a sentry ward right here, and their next vision would be, well, offensive in the jungle, but everything else, they have no idea. But now, well, there's a charge in. He uses the dust, actually pushes Templar Assassin on the high ground, but look at these charges. The Melted just going for it, and that's pretty much it. They get one kill on the Disruptor in the backlines, but now they want to contest this Roshan, but is it really a good idea that Dazzle's going in and he's trying to do something? But this is so desperate. Valix is the next one to fall. Well, the Klink's at least losing right now the Aegis, but look at the rest of the fight. Does he actually join it? There goes the Dazzle, that's one, and is it enough damage for more? No, they have vision on him, and now with the races and everything, they just push through, so Aegis, everything is just gone.
Amnik is hidden right now. He will actually get the blink out, but there's a hammer coming. I don't think Templar Assassin can escape this. As elusive as Templar Assassin may sometimes be, there's way too many heroes here. It's a triple kill from Matumba Man. As for ASC, do clean up that Roche fight. I'm actually really surprised that it went that well for them. Like, they were kind of trickling in one at a time. Sohn kind of jumps into his own death. No one to help him out there at all, but they do take out the Aegis on the Klinks. And it was really in that small amount of time when Klinks was dead, when he was just like, respawning from the Aegis, where the rest of the damage actually happened before ASC. There was no damage output after that fact. And once he pops up again, Klinks has no one to hide behind, no one to assassinate. He's stuck in a corner, literally. So it's for ASC ultimately to get in there with the Sven and do quite a bit of damage. That fight, unlike the previous fight that was, near the river area near Roshan, was very, very clustered. And that's where Klinks doesn't really want to be, even with the BKB.
Yep, definitely. It was just... I mean, the Sven coming out there with a triple kill, the Aegis lost right away. Well, what was really funny for me was how the fight started. Like, the Spiritbreaker charging in, like, using the dust and trying to run out. Then the Dazzle is just like, boys, I'm going in. So, Shallow Crave on him, just like that, and he's just running into the Rosh pit. And it kind of worked out. Like, he was the one who kind of finished off the Klinks. That was Poison Touch, making sure they have vision on it. The Races came right behind him, so he kind of tanked for the Shadow Fiend there. It's I don't know, it looked so desperate, but it worked out 100%. But let's see what we're gonna see next. The runes are getting picked up. In the mid we got 3 or 4, I see. Top we got 2. And does the Klinks, for example, find anything in the back lines right now? These two, you don't really want to fight with them.
Oh, he's gonna get clipped by the charge. Unfortunately for Matumba Man, he's still going to go up one against Hero. Gets the hammer out. Fissure's going to connect with a couple more arrows. This should be Sven's death, even with the broken amount of armor you get from Warcry. No, he will get bailed out. Whoa, is that relocate, though? He's going to get right back into the danger zone. Will survive again, however. No, Klinks will get one more steering arrow. We'll get the kill. Now here comes Nisha. We'll curse up the Io. That Io is dead in an instant. Sohn going to get glimpsed right back into a kinetic field. Oh, and he's completely dead now. There's no one else that can really help out. Although he's going to try to TP. Echo Slam forced out. But Valix, 1 shot, 2 shot. That's going to be a triple kill again for Hero. What the hell was that relocate, man? That was not where you wanted to take your friendly.
No, that was definitely not the relocate you were aiming for. That was so messy, that fight. And everything started just by the Sven being caught out. I mean, the Sven armor in itself already, like 10 armor, and of course he used the Warcry and tried to run away, and it looked like for a second he actually gets away and the whole fight is disengaged, but the Fissure was beautifully done, like really much on the last edge, and then suddenly they came into this fight. For AC, they could have just dropped the Sven there and everything would have been fine. Everybody would have sat down, drink a beer and relax, keep on farming, but just one by one, everybody just tried to salvage something, but it just made it worse. So 16 and 14, suddenly ATN took over the kill score, and we have to see if that actually goes into the crafts as well. Look at the net worth. From an almost 4k advantage for AAC, they dropped into a 3k advantage now for ATN, and this is not even fully updated.
I'm pretty sure you could see exactly on the graphs the point at which Klinks grabbed his Desolator. Like, it was going down, more and more in favor of 4SCs. Then Desolator Klinks happened. And it turns out it's a lot harder to win a game of Dota when the enemy team has 5 heroes, right? Go figure. Yeah. Supreme Hero is just walking around destroying everyone. Now with the Chrysalis, I don't know because I'm not going to do the math, but I want to say if he gets lucky, he's approaching or at one-shot territory with his Dazzle. No Dazzle, that means no grave. They're going to find Matumba Man right now. He's putting out a pretty giant stack of Ancients. He's going to get a lot of cash out of that, guaranteed. Dust does go off, and it looks like Templar Assassin's going to book it out of there. Hero, though, he's caught with the charge, and he has no buddies nearby. Sohn does not have any additional dust, and the dust is fading right now. They're going to get 2 Raises Curse, though, onto Nempi. Static Storm is there as well, as they're going to try to go for Sohn. Fissure's going to wall him off, and Spiritbreaker should be the first one to fall. relocate out. What? No, that was actually a glimpse. As there goes the 4ASC team fight hero with the helmet. Tumblr asking to take out the IO as well. Stone's still alive, but they do take out the Clinks for 4ASC. Not too bad. And here comes the Tomb Man. Gonna look for Elisai stuck in the corner. That's 2 shots dead. And it's a 2 for 2 ultimately. Clinks does lose his life, however.
Yeah, that was actually the action of Io. Io's last will on this planet was pretty much take out the Clinks, and the last 2 spirits did so before he was going down. So, like, yeah, support with his dying breath, just doing the right job, killing the core, because that Clinks was just about to run away. Like, BKB faded, everything was good, he was in the Shadow Walk, and yeah, just about to run away. The spirits finished the job, so that was a relatively good trade for ASC. Also, they didn't get engaged on while they were on their ancients, aka they did not lose their gold right there, and that's of course a good thing.
Now we have Tomb Man with a full 10-second BKB charge, Mask of Madness. It's, potentially a little bit risky to pop the Mask of Madness up against such high damaging heroes in physical, but hey, he's going to go for Sasu instead. Blink forward and then obliterated, although that was mostly Valix to do the damage with the Shadow Wave. Shaker is still going to go down, but it's not really a terribly huge deal for Shaker. He already has his Blink Dagger. He's going to go for Yule, and of course top enemy. He's going to get charged. He has not that much mana right now, but he does have Nisha right next to him to support. Glimpse back on Stone. Going to get caught in the field, and Templar Assassin a little bit slowed in to come in perhaps, but still Spirit Breaker, I think in this game has been a little bit too aggro.
Yeah, I don't think he believed in that glimpse, but the glimpse came out, so putting him in another position, he had to move before he was able to actually kill him. But it's a 1-1 trade for pretty much like the same role in each team, so as long as the rest of them keeps them fighting, everything is good. The Clinks is scouting out what's happening here to the Shadow Fiend as well as the IO, and the funny part at this point is that oh, never mind, relocate in the mid, but this is for the Winter Viper. He's buying some time with the Cold Embrace, but the race right there is finishing it. I was just about to say that Clinks, in theory, if he finds those two, Shadow Fiend and Io, even if the Io has a gem right now, but no Ghost Scepter, he could really just go for it. Like, go lock on that Io, potentially with a crit 2 hits, maybe 3, and that should do the trick.
Yeah, it's always a little bit risky to actually make that call, though. It's really only because Tomb Man does have a Blink Dagger. If you get those 2 shots on the Io, yeah, you get the kill, but losing your life to a sudden Sven out of nowhere, definitely not worth a trade. So Clinks is certainly holding on to a cannon right now. He just has to find an opportunity where 4ASC are a little bit scattered, such as right now. Like, this is a point in time where if Clinks was in the area, Valix would be just dead right now. This is a dead Dazzle. Even Matumba Man, if Clinks had a little bit of help, he would be an easy target. But 4ASC seems like they just want to go for a straight 5-on-5 clash. This is into Echo Slam. This is into a Static Storm. This is into a level 2 now, Winter's Curse. 4SC probably can get away with pushing this tower down, but it may cost them a couple heroes.
Absolutely. They go for the tier 2 tower, which is already pretty low, so that's something easy to do, and they also have to be so careful for the Sven's initiation. There's a nice little stun here on the Shadow Fiend. They're not gonna clip anything, so the tower is going down. It's nicely denied, but it seems like ATN is not interested in the fight, at least not a fight that is not on their terms, and right now, this is one of the worst fights you can actually take on the Radiant side, simply because it's such a choke point. You have like that little, just that little gate to get to your tower, and if that Sven actually hops here into that little gap and stuns 3 heroes with Ultimate and Mask of Madness on, then they're dead, then you can actually pronounce that. So that's, yeah, that's the biggest problem. And also, I just showed the net worth for tiny little glimpse. ATN pretty much lost everything. Like, their 4K advantage is plummeting down back to, yeah, on the 4AC side.
Yeah, but the game is ultimately even. We have an almost instant Roshan respawn. And at this point for ASC, they could commit Sven or Shadow Fiend probably just solo into the pit, maybe with Io there as well, and they can very easily clean that up by themselves. But it's alternate to go on the attack first. They're smoked up, they see Matumba Man, they have a glimpse, and if Sven is a little bit caught off guard, he'll be forced to at the very least use a BKB charge, but they also perhaps find a couple more heroes. Oh no, it's Valix again! Blink forward, Sasuke gets stunned out, and Valix in a lot of trouble, but Matumba Man's there as well, gets cursed up immediately, with Clinks just firing out. Matumba Man's gonna have to book it out of there. He will survive for a little while longer, however, it will be Valix to fall, no surprises there. But everyone else on 4ASC, they do get out alive. Matumba Man, though, he's really roughed up, so 4ASC cannot continue this fight. Alternate, they force out a whole bunch of BKBs, use a bunch of their own. It seems like they're going to try to go for a top tier 2, but 4ASC, immediately seeing that, go for Roshan.
Like, absolutely beautiful reaction by Valex right there. I mean, he knew he's gonna die here. The second he saw them, like, instantly Shallow Crave, and he was buying the necessary seconds to actually make this fight not a disaster right there for ATN. Also, of course, kudos to the Winter Wyvern instant reaction. He saw, oh my god, Sven, ultimate on, everything pretty much on, and the Wisp not far away. So if you don't stop that Sven right there, then you get in trouble. So Winter's Curse right there. It was not enough to kill him off because the damage was just not there. Also no crits on the Sven. But still, like, it was a good reaction, otherwise they might have lost their 3 heroes right there, even in the cleave. Still, Roshan goes down, and if you have the whole bottom line of the last minute game, it's a support for a easy Roshan. No tower was pushed, no nothing, not the craziest farm for ATN, so, funnily enough, 4 ASC just made the better trade by sacrificing Valix.
Poor Dazzle, man. That's kind of just the life of a Dazzle, and it will be the life of a Dazzle until the end of Dota times, so we'll see if he could actually collect a couple of kills, maybe to pad his score a little bit, but with Heroes Farm, doesn't really seem that is super likely, but it is worth noting that even with the Clinks, Strafe on, Searing Arrows on, just free firing at that Sven, couldn't really get through that Warcry plus armor, and I assume Matuba is going to be turning this Hyperstone into an Assault Cuirass, so even more armor for him and his entire team. Going back to what we said in the draft, the vast majority of this damage does come out of the Templar Assassin and the Clinks. If you get armor through Vlad's, through Weave, through Warcry, then it's a lot more difficult for Ultimate to actually kill off these heroes.
Absolutely, like, alone Warcry and Weave, that's a ridiculous amount of armor you get right there. And of course, yes, you have on the other side someone with the Desolator and the Templar Assassin also as a source of minus armor, but no minus armor on ATN side can actually like compensate for normalizing it.
Empty has 50 armor right now. That's so disgusting, dude. Like, what the hell are you supposed to do against that?
Not much, at least not as a physical damage source. I mean, they have some magical source, yes, but at this point it's just not enough. And they go through the towers pretty systematically right now. It was top, now they go into the mid. There is a cliff available, but of course they're not going to use Warcry coming out. Is there more? Maybe a jump by the Sven. And is this already high ground time? Does 4AC really feel confident? There is a nice little kinetic shield, but the Shadowfiend doesn't care. He has, of course, the Aegis. He can just tank it all away.
He has Aegis and a whole bunch of healers right behind him. Dazzle has Arcane Boots, and well, really that's all you need to sustain a couple of heals. Io doesn't have anything like that, but still, if Shadowfiend loses his Aegis, it's not a terribly huge deal. And Alternate do not have enough burst damage to just instantly pop to the Shadowfiend. So Nemphy, if he is going to die, it's going to be at a pace at which Valix and or Boogie can actually help out. So Nemphy's on the high ground, or he's going to be tasked with the high ground, and with Butterfly, he's attacking pretty quickly and pretty hard, while at the same time not taking too much damage because of the Warcry. Nemphy now going to take some shots, but the evasion just saved him so much damage right there. The Templar Assassin seemingly doing nothing right now. Nemphy going to scare them away with the Requiem. Going to get regened up by Boogie, and this tower slowly but surely is going to go down. 2 minutes left of this slow siege at the very least, as the Aegis is not going to get reclaimed just yet. And this is also threatening just the straight initiation from Matumba Man, who is going to get hit with Valix. That's an opening for Alternate, but they're just really scared about fighting into this Aegis right now. Like, Heroes is getting so many misses right now, and they're doing what they can, yes, but is this going to really give me enough? Actually, no, the Grave has been used. Nemphy in a little bit of trouble now. Matumba does pop the God Strength. I think he got going in. Mech is going to heal Nemphy back up to full. No God Strength, though, and 4SC have to run because of that.
Yeah, what I kind of miss, of course, here is the fact that maybe Clinks could go somewhere else, but oh, there's a stun here on the Swan. He still has the BKB, but look at all the crits. The Melt is just finishing the entire thing, and now the question is, can they go for more? Look at the Dazzle. Again, nice reaction. The Shadow Crave is up, but they need to interrupt someone. No, it's not actually happening. They try to go for the Spirit Breaker, who also has a charge out, but, well, he was dying so fast. There was not even a second time to say charge in this case, so that means they're probably gonna go for a push here on the tier 2 tower. It's a nice trade as such, but still, they lost quite a lot of their tier 3 tower. The slow siege was relatively effective.
Well, they kill off the Sven, and that's a really big kill at this stage in the game. They also, or Sven also uses his BKB kind of as panic right before he dies. Did absolutely nothing for him because TA and Clinks are fully physical, but still, Sven going down without having a chance to pop his Warcry, his health pool dwindled really, really quick. He'll have an Assault Cuirass next time that happens, so maybe he's not going to get insta-gibbed within the duration of one fissure, but still, the damage department is full for Alternate, and for ASC, dropping a tier 3 tower low is nice, but at the cost of the Sven, not worth it. If they took the tier 3 tower, yeah, fine, but that clearly just didn't happen, so Alternate, they're still kicking. They just have to make sure to Perhaps wait out this Aegis. Then they could actually get in there with the Curse, with the Echo Slam, with Static Storm, and make things happen.
Yep. I was about to say when I was slow sieging that like I kind of missed that the Klinks, for example, in the meantime he could really go for, you know, some sort of split push, because he takes towers down within seconds and then you more or less force 4 AC back. But of course they're not stupid, they know about that, and they did so much pressure on the tower and always threatening with like immediate fight within the next some seconds. So the Klinks leaving and then 4 ASC winning a fight before his TP scroll brings him back into his own base. That was a risk ATN was not willing to take, and therefore no split push happening. But I think 4 AC, they're still fine with everything that's happening right now. There's some dewarding and everything going on. Nisha's taking care of some wards, but they fall back and farm. How does that farm actually translate here? We have, yeah, net worth wise still a totally even game.
Sheepstick though is picked up on Klinks, and that's a big one. It cuts through BKBs if you obviously get it off beforehand, or even just sheeping Sven and then ignoring him, or Shadow Fiend and then ignoring him because this Shadow Fiend has no BKB. That's a perfectly reasonable way to go for Hero. Just get the Shadow Fiend out of his face so that he could kill off the softer heroes in the back lines, and then once the Shadow Fiend has no more supports, once he has no more IO to tether heal him, once he has no more Grave to back him out, then the Shadow Fiend is, yeah, putting out a lot of damage, but doesn't have a Satanic, doesn't have a BKB, doesn't have any way of, guaranteeing his own safety and survival in those fights. So this is a big item pickup from the Klinks. Similarly for Mnik, picked up the MKB, so killing off the Shadow Fiend through evasion, now possible for the TA.
Yeah, and crits to calm your tits, that's what is at the moment the creator of the Shadow Fiend. He is really buckling up, getting ready for a heavy fight. He already had like the S and Y, he went for a butterfly, and I actually thought we're gonna see really like that super tanky build with the Skadi on top and then later maybe, but he's going of course into lifesteal, but he's I think fine for the stats right now. He really just added that Daedalus to his nice little collection here, which puts him on a decent 6 slot. Obviously he can still max it out by Satanic and everything that adds some more strength and HP of course, but then he already has to consider which step he goes next for top. They actually had vision on the Klinks, and now it gets interesting. The charge is already there, there's no TP like to a tower or anything, but look at Nemphy. Nemphy is there, they know this is gonna happen. Up there's BKB, they have vision on it. Does he actually get the hell out of here? But no, he doesn't. Oh, look at all this damage coming his way. Jesus.
Klinks is incredibly farmed, right? But he still has just farmed up damage items, so if you get on top of the Klinks, then there's not much that Klinks can actually do about it. Again, Alternate don't really have great heroes defensively to save a Klinks in that situation. Embrace, perhaps, but that's not going to happen there, as Winter Wyvern was nowhere close. They had another charge going down to the south that was cancelled by a fissure, but still 4SC get a nice clean kill. The problem is that they use God Strength to actually get it, so they really don't want to fight without God Strength, but by the time God Strength is up,
it's a low cooldown as such, I guess. I mean, it's not much, like while the slow siege is going on, while they even wait for the creeps, like this 80-second cooldown is down to almost 30, so in half a minute you can pretty much pop it in case there's a fight breaking out.
And they're just gonna have an empty siege again, this time with the Daedalus, and Sasu's gonna do what he can with those fissures. That one is a little bit off the mark, but still towered down, and Nemphy doesn't have to fear the Klinks' burst. Range Rack's gonna be the conservative decision here for ASC. He's actually just taking no damage.
Yeah, attack speed.
Well, maybe it's because no one's actually hitting him, but two-man jumps in the back lines, going for Nisha right now, even cleaving through to Mnik. He does not kill off the Winter Wyvern. He does get the Embrace out. Raze is going to finish the job, however, as they're now into Mnik. Couple shots from Shadow Fiend. One more is needed, not quite enough. Two-man taking the Echo Slam solo, but he doesn't take anything from that one. That's 2 free kills. Nemphy claims both of them. Rax is to fall. They can slide down to bottom lane, which is also pushing in, and if Alternate want to fight right now, they'll be fighting into God Strength, they'll be fighting into almost a full duration weave. They will be doing absolutely no damage. Seems like with one Alpha Strike, 4SC might have clinched this game.
Wow, that's easier than I actually thought. I thought ATN is putting up more of a fight, but it seems like they're not really willing to, and for AC they do the right thing. They're like, man, they didn't stop us on 2 Raxes, so maybe make it a lucky 3, and yes, they're going for it. There's even God Strengths and everything ready, no cliff available, so Klinks has to come into this fight. There is actually the hacks, of course, on the IO, but now they turn it around, they want to have revenge, and it's at the moment not enough for a kill. In the meantime, we have to Sven, I think, still focusing on the Rex. Yes, he's finishing the entire thing. We have Mega Creeps coming out. Now there's also charge on the TA, Reflection Charge still there, blink it forward, trying to get safer, closer to the fountain, but you're not really safe anywhere now. The slows are coming through, but it's not enough. Winter's Curse just buying some time here. Spirit Breaker is dying. The Swen might be the next target. Temple Assassin now cleaning up, but is it even up? Even if they win the fight right now, Mike? Like, this is against Mega
It's
Creep.
it's over, man. Like, even if they completely wipe for ASC, they got so much gold for ASC just off of getting those kills. Nemphy's farming the fountain, literally. Sasu dying in his own fountain. Rampage for Nemphy. And he's brave. He's still alive. 1 HP, I believe. Oh, okay, maybe I don't believe, but they're gonna die, and it doesn't even matter because Alternate are gonna call GG. I love how in the final act of karma in this game, it's the IO to kill the Clinks. Like,
Wow.
that's just delicious.
But still, it was such a fight. Still, like this is one of those endings like in a movie when you think like, wow, it's about to end and everything, but then all of a sudden, like everybody, you know, is just grabbing their popcorn and going outside already. It was already the ending, even though you thought, well, there's at least another 10-15 minutes coming. So with that rack, they break into the base. They say like, what's 1 is sometimes 2, and if we got 2, we might as well just do 3. There were no buybacks available, and I don't even think the Clinks really realized that this is a Mega Creep push. Either way, guys, it's a best of 3 series. Like, nothing changed around that, so simply for that reason we are coming back for a guaranteed game number 2, and in case ATN managed to beat 4AC and they had some good tries this game, we might see a game number 3. That being said, guys, we go back into the waiting screen, give it 5 minutes, some ads there as well, and we'll be back.